they get the majority of it taken off, they'll shape it a little bit with hand tools and jackhammers and grinders and things like that. But then they hit it with a torch. So there's an oxygen kerosene torch that gets 3,500 degrees. And as soon as but this is how smooth he is. If you were to go up there and feel his weight, it would be that Yes, this is what cuts it, so they don't have to use dynamite to blow the rock out anymore. They use this to shave off big pieces and get it down to where they want, and then they hit it with a torch to smoothen it out. It's a very slow process, and they have to do small sections at a time. They can sculpt with it as well. And that's actually how they're going to do the feather. So they're going to drive a big rod through the top of his head, and then they're going to take 4-foot stones, a lot like what's piled up right there. They'll drill a hole through it, and they'll slide it through the rod, and then they'll use the heat to mold all of those rocks back together again. This is pegmatite granite. It has an extremely high iron content. It's the reason why he nicknamed it Thunder Mountain, is because it attracts the clouds and the lightning. So whenever the thunderstorms come through here, they will all kind of build up over this mountain right here, and it will strike lightning like crazy. And so I have a radio for that purpose. If there's a lightning strike within 15 miles of here, they'll tell me, and we get out of Dodge immediately. Everybody evacuates this mountain area. And that's the reason why it's red as well. So the iron content, when they first carve on it, it's white. It's as white as Mount Rushmore. It's super white. But leaving it into the elements for just a little bit of time, it oxidizes and it kind of shows a little bit of a rust color, and that's why you have the reddish hue that it shows.
You said something about the paint.
So if you look on the side of the mountain, there's white lines there.
Yes.
That's the horse's face, essentially, and that's what I was referring to.
How many cans did you say?
176 cans of paint, gallons of paint. And that line is about 6 feet wide when you're standing next to it. It doesn't look like it is, but it is. So if you take notice to the white post sticking out of the rock there, there's another one way over there on top of that one as well. They're placed all over the mountain, 360 degrees and on top, and basically what it does is give them a 3D image on the computer, so they know exactly what rock is remaining and what rock to be taken away. They overlay the scale model on top of that, and it gets down to the inch of how much rock needs to be removed. It's very precise and it's very efficient. So that's why it's a 5 to 9 year plan, because it could be closer to the 5 year if they maintain this technological advance, but it could be a 9 year at the current rate of speed. So everything, it's a slow process, but it is still 3 times faster than what it was, say, 20 years ago.
You might come back here in 9 years.
That's right. Sure. And that's extremely expensive stuff. So that little piece right there is just over $200 worth of cable. That's right. Yeah, I don't know where you're going to sell this.
They just drill a hole and then drop it in there?
Yeah, so they thread it through, and it reconnects again, and it works on a pulley system just like a bandsaw does, and it rotates one direction. I do this because my arms aren't going to be able to do it, but essentially it's a loop, and it just rotates. They use water to cool it down because of the friction, of course.
It looks like plastic also.
No, it's just there's like a rubber coating over it, but it is a steel cable, and then you have these bands of stainless steel alloy that has diamonds embedded into it. And if you see it in the sunlight, you can see the spark. That's the bands. There's very small, fine pieces of diamond.
Are working there now?
12. 12 to 14. So in the wintertime it's 12, and then here in the summertime it'll be upwards of 14. So that's compiled of engineers and machine operators.
Do they anticipate that the face will change color too? It already has.
It was unveiled in 1998, and that's essentially where they're at now. They have done some more heat treatment to it to seal up fractures and stuff like that, but for the most part, that was carved, you know, good 23 years ago, or finished carved. Well, when you blast something with dynamite, then it creates the fractures. And that's why they don't blast it. The last blasting was 2015. So, go
What
ahead.
melts? You said they put a torch to it and it melts. And what mineral is it that melts? Is it the iron or the silica or
The granite.
granite?
Yeah. So
Can
the
it
granite.
melt when they put a
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it melts it quickly too. So they're not sitting there with a torch on one spot for very long. It's just kind of like a shh, and then they move to another spot, and they move to another spot. And it has to be done pretty quickly after they cut it.
So if they had a larger funding, would they increase the number of men?
No, that's a common question actually. And no, it's not the funding that's the issue actually. It's the process. So you can, for one, it's a small workspace. You can't fit 50 guys up there, you know. So, and getting 50 guys that are as skilled as the ones that are up there currently. You know, everybody has their duties. There's a few engineers, there's a few machine operators, a few laborers, and a few apprentices that are learning all the trades. So you couldn't have 50 guys. Now, once the mountain gets completed more, and they're down here near the base, and they're clearing out all this rubble, and most of the carving is done, then yeah, you probably look at a workforce that's 100 plus because they're in a broad area to be able to do so. It's the money isn't really the issue as much as the process. One of Korchak's famous quotes is, "Don't remove rock that you need to stand on later." So they start on the top and work their way down.
Okay. I'll be back in 30 years when I'm 92.
Perfect.
Hopefully I'll see a crazy horse.
Well, you'll likely see the horse's head take shape at that point. The arm and hand and everything will be done. They'll likely have the hairline and everything completed. The feather will likely be mounted in 30 years. And then they'll likely be working on the feet at that point and the torso. And then from there, a large part of the project is removing all of this rock from the base of the mountain. That's going to be an extensive project as well that'll take years to accomplish. Eventually this will all be a big lake right here. It'll connect to the Laughing Water Creek, which is where the restaurant gets its name inside. And there's a full rendition inside of the scale rendition of the completed project. And so you'll see the whole 1,000 acres and what the development at the end will look like.
So there will be a lake, then it's going to be a mountain lake.
We're not gonna see it.
It'll be fed by the Laughing Water Creek, which is the natural
We're
creek.
done.
But yes, it'll be essentially a man-made lake. You can already see it's kind of a marsh already. There's, you know, this is kind of marshy down here, and there is a little bit of water that runs through there because the Laughing Water Creek did run through there. There's a ton of groundwater through here as well. Does anybody else have any questions? If not, then we'll get back on the bus, and I have some more things to share with you on the way back. And again, if anybody would like